everybody. My name, as Blitzen said, is Star. And then most of the people also with cameras on, got it. If they have a camp name or something at the end of it called like name their last name is Woodsy, they're also counselors. So we've all been in the organization for a little bit. But thank you so much for coming today. We're super excited to get to show you a little bit more about who we are. I've been in camp for 4 years and I'm a fourth year at UCLA. So I've been able to do camp all of my years at UCLA, shaped my experience here. But we can get started with the slides. Blitzen, can you?
Oh,
Sorry.
can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can now. Sorry.
Awesome.
It's good. Okay, cool. So what is UniCamp? So we're a week-long overnight summer camp for underserved youth in LA. We It's run through UCLA, so it's primarily UCLA students. However, we've recently opened it up to any college student, which is a really fun development. So we're able to really reach out to our community a little bit more. We started in 1928 as a canned food drive, I believe for students like children in Sawtelle. And then in 1935, we had our summer camp for the first year. And we've been doing summer camp ever since. We moved online for 1 year for COVID, but other than that, we have been in full swing up the San Bernardino Mountains at camp up there. So we are consisted of around 300 volunteers, all student volunteers, and we oversee about 650, like it says on their campers. And then our ages are 10 to 17. You can go to the next slide, but new counselors are mainly going to work with ages 10 to 14. So why summer camp? A couple reasons. We just highlighted some here. One of the biggest things is that campers get to explore their identity. A lot of times when you are put into positions that, or you're in the same environment all the time, you don't necessarily get to be who you want to be. So that's one of the really big things. So kids and counselors can be called whatever they want to be called up the mountain. That's even a little, even with the shy kids, you get to see their personality with what name they pick. So it's a really special tradition that we have. Also mentoring relationships. I know a lot of people who have had campers reach out for letter of recs and things like that. So it's definitely a relationship. And it's mentoring for both you and them. You learn a ton from the campers, and obviously they learn a lot from you. That ties into the next one, social, emotional, and leadership skills. Your leadership skills will progress throughout your time as a camp counselor. I think that I've definitely grown as a leader since my first year. I think that most of the people I've met in camp have grown as leaders. I think it's just like a natural progression. So that's a really awesome type of thing that you get out of it. And then lastly, as we all know, being outside and being in the environment, which up there we're in the trees, we're by a river, it has measurable effects on your mental and physical health. So it's always nice to be able to unplug for a whole week and really just be in nature. Yeah, so I kind of mentioned this a little bit before, but our campers are ages 10 to 17. Any new counselor will work with 15 to 17. We have specific programs for them. So we usually have our second or third year counselors work on the specific programs. That way they have a better sense of how camp runs. And most of our campers are primarily in South LA. We connect with a lot of different organizations. As it says here, most of our campers qualify for government aids like CalFresh, and sometimes they're like food stamps, but of different organizations. One of our sessions connects specifically with a school. The other session connects specifically with another organization. So we have very cool connections. We bring up campers from the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club. And so we definitely try to get campers up regardless of the price that they can pay. So we really try to subsidize the price for them through fundraising through us, which I'll get through a little bit later. But yeah, our big thing is that we want as many campers up the mountain as possible. So our camp is run in the San Bernardino Mountains. We are at a campsite called Camp Pine Mountain, and it is around 2 to 3 hours. UCL, we provide buses from UCLA, and so we'll provide buses up the mountain and down the mountain. And I would honestly say that like bus time from up the mountain to down the mountain is one of my favorite things to witness. All the campers are like super shy and on their phone the entire time up the mountain. It's like silent. And then on the ride down the mountain, everyone's like sitting next to their friend. They don't even know where their phone is, or they're exchanging numbers, or they're all singing camp songs. So it's a really cool thing to be able to see them all get out of their shells in just 6 or 7 days. And you get to spend the extra bus time with them on the way down, which can mean a lot to a lot of the campers. So now I'm just going to go into a little bit of what a day at camp will look like. It's very much like a stereotypical summer camp, anything you'd see kind of in the movies, which is one of the things that I've loved so much about it. It's wake up, breakfast. If you want, your campers and you can wake up early and do a morning hike or a sunrise yoga, morning dancing or stretching, things like that. And then you eat breakfast. And then throughout the day, you go through rotations. This can be really anything. It's up to your session, which is also a really nice thing. We're able to really like take creative liberty over what we want to do with our campers. But some of the things are archery. Like the video mentioned, we have a 50-foot tower, which a lot of the campers are fearless about, which is wild to me. Um, Different rotations like science, yoga. They love swimming, nature, arts and crafts, and more, depending on, like I said, whatever you and your session decides to do. And then it'll be lunch, more rotations, dinner. And then we always have a night activity. So this could be a campfire on the first and last days, um, or it can be a night hike. We have one all camp dance, which is also very fun to watch the kids get ready for. And then we have a talent show, which is awesome. They get to perform in front of everybody else. And they're also fearless about that. So it's a really cool, like I said, way to see everyone's personalities, but really just a stereotypical day in what would seem like a movie summer camp, which is fun. So, why would you even want to do this? There's a few reasons. I think that one of the biggest ones that I've mentioned is probably building connections. I've definitely built a ton of friends outside of that have become friends outside of camp through camp. We also have an awesome alumni network that I will get into a little bit later, probably on the next couple slides, but who alumni who have gone into many different fields. And so it's really nice to be able to get like experienced advice where they're able to tell you how they used UniCamp on their resume or how they used UniCamp in this interview to get law. And so that's really awesome. And like I said, like I mentioned before, we're able to do a lot of references. I know a lot of staff has sent like letter of recommendations and professional references to other people. And so it's a really awesome just community to join. Um, your leadership skills will grow. You get hands-on experience, which is something that not a ton of like internships or externships like get you. So it's really nice to be able to put on your resume and experience yourself hands-on real world experience. And you're working with kids, which is a very big population to have experience with, especially if you want to go into anything having to do with kids. It's huge. It's huge on your leadership skills. And then like I said, we work with kids in the LA area, so it's really nice to be able to give back to the community that we our beautiful school in or that we are centered around. So giving back to the youth of our area is awesome. And a lot of times the campers become counselors, which is a really fun way that that cycle continues. Yeah, so like I said, these are just a few alumni that we specifically pulled. It really could we could have chose anyone, but we have some people here, as you can see, Pizza, what is partner for a major law firm. Randall Park, and Sheila, I think she was in the video talking about how she's in education. So a lot of different realms that people from camp can go to. Yeah, kind of going more into that. These are just different occupations and like how people have used camp. So just to name a few, we have social justice educator, emergency medicine, sports medicine, law school, the Navy. And so not only will the alumni help with any questions you have, or it's a good connection base outside of it, but it's also cool just to read the stories and see how people got from UniCamp to where they are now. Because a lot of times I know for in personal experience, just like seeing a path, any path to get to my end goal, is definitely really helpful. So it's nice that like we're also able to give you all something in return for all of your hard work. Yeah, so what we're asking out of our volunteers is weekly training meetings. So starting week 6 until week 9, and then all of spring, 2-hour training every week. So we ask for 2 hours of your week, and you get to choose Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. There's different times on those days, and you get to choose whatever one fits the best with you. That will directly here, which is the 1 week up at camp. So depending on when you train, that will depend on the session you're in. All of our sessions have really cool colors and themes. So you very much get session pride once you start in your week of camp. But we have the dates on um, under the 2025 session dates. So those are the different dates in the summer. So if you're concerned about that, you can choose one of those that work with your summer plans. And then we have a fundraising goal. As I mentioned before, we try to make the cost of camp as subsidized as possible for our campers. Some campers come up for completely free, some campers pay half. It really just depends on everyone's situation. But especially this year, we're definitely trying to, with some of our campers losing homes or whatever their situation is with the fires, we're definitely trying to push for as much subsidization as possible. We totally know that $450 is not something most people have in their pocket. But camp's really good with giving opportunities to help. I know we have a phone baking thing for our leadership, I think next week. So they're able to call some of the alumni we mentioned and they're going to jump on and ask them for but ask them for donations, which most of them can't say no to because they were also in Unicamp. I know for me, my session did like a pie in the face fundraiser and we got money from that. So we definitely help each other out. The sessions will help you out. The camp as the org as a whole will help you out as long as you communicate. It's definitely doable and everyone in camp has done it. So it's definitely a weekend things. We have a February 22nd, we have a big like day retreat. We have an overnight retreat in the spring, and then on-site orientation where you're able to like see the campsite before your week of camp starts. So that's a really fun like time up the mountain where it's just counselors and no campers. Yeah. And then the last thing is a lot of people are a little bit concerned if they have an internship job or they just want to go home for the summer, which we all totally get. I've done a full internship while also doing a week of camp. Um, most of our volunteers, I say, would. Most of them have a job where they have full-time, part-time during the summer. They have internships. Um, so we totally can work around that, even if you've been training for one session the whole year, but you end up getting that internship and it starts that week. We can move you around. We can also give you templates on how to request time off and how to let them know that you're going to be doing community hours here instead of there. So there's a lot of flexibility, one, between the sessions, but to your employer or whoever's running your program that you're doing something awesome for campers in our area. So we'll definitely help you out with that, but please don't let that deter you from applying because we've all definitely have all had both of those. Um, okay, so kind of going back to the day in the life, I kind of went over what it looks like for the campers, but this is your role activities. You'll be guided through a lot of it, is what it says. Super guided. Most of it you'll be walking to a rotation and the rotation's being done. If you want to run archery, then you get to do that as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can plan activities at the mountain. We also play a ton of like random games or like things during training so that you can grasp kind of an idea of like what the kids might want to do. And you'll know once you get up there that you might have the cabin that like only wants to do a puzzle, or you have the one that wants to play basketball. So it really just depends. But the activities are super guided for a specific set of campers. Obviously, you're going to be supervising campers. Safety is our number one priority. So you will be with them all the time during activities, meals times, night times. You will be in the cabins, things like that. So that's obviously one of the big priorities. And then you will be a mentor. As I said, a lot of my friends, campers have reached out to them because for letter of recs, because they're now at the age where they're applying to their first job or they're applying to college. And so it's a really cool thing to be able to mentor the campers to the extent that they reach out to you in the future. Um, and you're in this together. You have a co-counselor the whole time, which is really awesome. I've been very close to all of my co-counselors, so I'm very super lucky. So it's a really cool thing to also just have like a built-in friend into camp. So here are the steps. We're pretty much there, but the only real requirement we have would be step one. So that's making sure that you're going to be 18 by February and making sure, as I said, that you're a current college student or a former camper. So it doesn't have to be UCLA, just any college. And then former camper, also, we do that continuum of care, and we're really proud of that. So a lot of our counselors used to be campers, and so that's also a cool transition to see. You'll then fill out the application. That QR code will take you to our application. It's also on our Instagram or unicamp.org/apply. After you fill out your application, you should be getting an email, not immediately, but start of next week, you should be getting an email and you'll be doing interviews with the session's leadership team that you chose. These interviews are super, super chill. Please don't stress out about them at all. They're absolutely no like thing to get worked up over. It's more so that we are meeting you versus the other way around. They're super laid back. Most of them most likely will be on Zoom, so that's also cool. And then you will attend your first training. Like I said, it's week 6. So whichever day that you choose your Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, it'll be on week 6. And that's pretty much it. I think the next slide has our Instagram. If you don't already follow us, definitely follow us. Today we posted a super cute video of a camper named Pooh Bear who's awesome. He was in my session the first year that he came up. So he's super awesome. And then we have a little bit more information for you here. If you need help, if you have any questions or anything, feel that's our Instagram. You can QR code it as well. But now we're just going to be open to any questions anyone has. Feel free to unmute yourself, throw them in the chat. You can private message me in the chat or whatever.